What's up, y'all? I'm Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut. Thanks for coming back for yet another week. Now, this is going to be an update to my project lawns from Northwest Indiana. I was up there on May 19, 2021 or so. And actually, I already put one video out that I'll reference here, but this is more of a informational video, just kind of walking you through what we did over the few days that we were there and showing you some of the results we got after the last application. So keep in mind that everything you see here, the last application was literally 1 month before. So you're seeing a 1 month application result in all of these. And the first place we stopped was over at Jeannie's house in Crown Point. And again, if I haven't reiterated, these are cool season lawns. And this lawn here is a mix of some bluegrass and some fescue mostly. And the thing that you're going to see here is that it has definitely started to thicken up. Now, she let me give it a quick little mow there. We did a little edging, had a little fun there. But you can see it's definitely thickening up, especially in these areas down around the middle of the lawn and the parkway. You can kind of see what they used to look like with Luke in the video there, but you can see what they were looking like just a month ago, and now you can see what they look like now. This is a marked difference. Now, there's 3 reasons why we got this result. The first one is that we're taking advantage of the natural growth cycle of the lawn. This is spring. Remember, I talk about cool season lawns. They have these 2 growth humps, spring and fall. Well, those are times when they're naturally going to thicken. They're naturally going to grow taller. They're naturally going to grab more sunlight. They're naturally going to spread. They're naturally going to push more roots. So we took advantage of that by starting these applications or starting our program in spring, number 1. And number 2, we have a homeowner that she takes care of the mowing. She keeps this consistently mowed, so it's never getting overgrown. And if it is needed that she wouldn't water, she'll water when needed. And then the third thing is we fueled it. We made it greener with fertilizer.
Dude, that reeks. In the best way possible, though.
Oh yeah, those kids aren't going to be playing in that backyard, or maybe they all will.
And nitrogen is the main thing there. Nitrogen drives the bus.
Throw down!
So we took those 3 things, and you can see the results that we got. The lawn is a lot thicker and healthier, and it looks better than the neighbors who do nothing. A lot of times people will say, well, if you didn't do anything, the lawn would look this good. Well, here you can see the neighbors. They do nothing, and their lawns don't look this good. Now, I did go ahead and apply another application of Flagship just to keep pushing the lawn to get it thicker, and this is also going to help push it through its seed stage. You're going to see us reference that a lot. This is in the seeding stage, which makes the lawn look a little bit rougher. We also do have some patches of, I think it's tall fescue clumps in here, and you can see those pretty readily. We'll decide what to do with those come fall time. For now, we're just going to let them sit there because they are part of the lawn. They are keeping erosion, their erosion control, whatever. It's not part of the turf grass we want, but there's really not a time of year right now to take care of that. And then, of course, we ended up with some garage and driveway beers because that's the reason why you have a nice lawn. Now, next was the church lawn project. You guys remember this is the original church project I took care of 12, 13 years ago. Started doing some stuff here again this year. Now, this lawn is also in the seed stage. It's going to seed. And because of that, it looks a little bit rough when you get up close. I'll give you a link up there. I did a full video on what that seeding stage does. So you'll have a little bit more information there. Now, when I did the first application back in April, the lawn was already looking pretty good. There were a few thin spots here and there, but you can see it is looking a whole lot better even right now. But I want to show you one mistake that I made, and you can see here, you see these dark lines? There's like 3 of them. 1, 2, 3 right there. They're like darker streaks. What that is that's poor overlap from my FIRD application that I did here a month ago. Now, this happened because I wasn't paying attention to the overlap properly, especially considering this was the first time I'd used this spreader I borrowed from Luke here. And so what happened was each pass I was overlapping more tip to tip and not wheel to wheel, and it did cause that streaking that you see there. The good news is to fix this, what I do is do a proper fertilization this time, and you'll see I did pay much more attention to the overlap. I've also got some experience now with this spreader, but the big thing is I just went the opposite direction. If you ever stripe your lawn for any reason, the way that you clear it up is to do a regular application and just go the opposite direction, and it'll just even everything right back out. Now, we do have a heat wave coming here in the next week. And so we're going to see what happens to this lawn that's not irrigated because it's a public place. So we're going to see what happens to it when the heat hits it, and that'll give us a really good contrast between the lawns that we're taking care of that are irrigated versus this one. So make sure you subscribe to stay tuned to see that video sometime updated this summer. Next, we went over to our property in Lansing. This is Luke's dad's house. If you don't know Luke, he is the turf king. He's one of my good buddies, part of my crew up there, hangs out with me every time I come up to the area. Now, this is a typical Chicago postage stamp lawn. It's about 1,000 square feet in the front, about 800 in the back. And we see the same thing here is that we're taking advantage of that turf's natural growth position, and we're just fertilizing it to fuel it now that we're in the spring, and we're just taking advantage of getting it thicker. It's kind of like a bodybuilder who, when he wants to go on a bulking cycle, he eats more protein, takes some pre-workout, stuff like that. That's kind of what the fertilizer is. We're just taking advantage of that work that the grass is already putting in. Now, we did have some bare areas here in the parkway when I showed up, and so we didn't put any pre-emergent there, and the homeowner went ahead and he used Scott's Patchmaster and seeded. We had recommended that to him, and you can see he did a great job. I mean, it filled in really nice. The Scott's Patchmaster did. We might have a little tall fescue in there too, but again, that's just one of those things. And when I say that, it's the clumping tall fescue. That's one of those things that will just fill in here naturally in Northwest Indiana. It's around everywhere if you have open areas in the lawn. But for the most part, he did a really good job seeding. There's a lot of good bluegrass in there growing and things like that. So we're just going to continue fertilizing here and looking at how things do, but you can obviously see this is a cared for lawn and it looks better than the ones around it. And then finally, we went back to my son's house. This is also in Northwest Indiana. The front lawn is mostly shaded and it's also looking very good. It's thickening up well. We also had some fun shooting videos around the 72 El Camino that's wrecked in the driveway. If you guys haven't seen, we ran some ads where we talk about lawn care around, and the El Camino shows up in the background. And actually, people viewing the ads on Facebook cared more about the El Camino, which they thought was a Chevelle. We got more comments about that than the lawn, and so that was a fun experience for us there. But you can see this is a shaded lawn, and he's keeping it mowed weekly, and it's looking really, really good. Now, lastly, I wanted to get to this part. This is the part I've been waiting for most, and that is, does sand on top of clay soil create concrete? If you guys remember, I put up a video not long ago on how to level your lawn, and I always use sand. I get tons of comments, people telling me, don't do that, it's going to turn your lawn to concrete. So here is Northwest Indiana clay soil right here. It's already cracked and hard. Nobody's touched it. Nobody's put sand on it. It's already like concrete. If you knock on it hard enough, it'll make your knuckles bloody. So that's one thing to think about. With that, let's go now to 1 month earlier when I put down the sand. Mason sand, the most dangerous sounding sand. Mason sounds, it sounds like concrete just from the name of what it is.
Dude, can I be completely honest with you right now?
What?
I'm freaking out because it says mixed with masonry cement.
Yeah, I know. It's dangerous sand. This is the most dangerous sand you can get. Right? Mason sand. Really what that means is just fine sand, okay? That's really what it means. I should say it like this. If we put this Mason sand in a Northwest Indiana clay lawn, we're for sure gonna get the cement. Well, really what we're gonna get is concrete.
Concrete.
Concrete. That's the myth. So here we go. This is a beautiful lawn too that we're about to sacrifice. Right here in the golden hour. Mason. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Look at the light going across there. Mount Baldy. Look at that. Do you see it disappear? There's people on YouTube comments right now saying, he just ruined that lawn. That lawn's ruined. All right. You think that'll create some concrete?
Yeah, I hope so.
Find out. All right, we're back real quick. It's we're getting ready to go to an event. If you're wondering why I'm wearing sunglasses and everything, it's because I'm hiding my dog, the bounty hunter eyes. But anyway, we wanted to show you that this lawn, did it turn to concrete? Everybody says if you put sand on a clay lawn, we'll show you the soil across the street. Shows you the clay that is here. It's hard already like concrete, but apparently if you put sand on the clay soil, it turns something that's already hard like concrete harder like more concrete.
I guess.
What do you think about that, Mr. Turf King?
I think it's fraudulent.
Yeah, so is it concrete? No. Right, listen, here we go. That's where all the sand is, right? This is where all the sand is. I don't know, it's not concrete. Now we'll go over here where there's no sand, see if it sounds the same.
Sounds the same.
Actually, it sounds harder.
It is.
Yeah, where the sand is feels softer to me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's my scientific opinion, you know.
Now hit the concrete.
Yeah, so. Oh yeah, there we go.
There's the concrete.
Right. Okay. So anyway, we're telling jokes here, y'all, but no concrete. So as you guys can see, putting sand, very dangerous sand that we got in the concrete section, the masonry section. Oh my gosh, so scary. But by the way, we bought the sand in the masonry section because the masonry section is indoors and it's dry. That's where you get dry sand. But as you can see, putting the sand on that clay, it did not create any concrete. It didn't make it any harder than what it was. So that is definitely a myth. I will continue to go back there and monitor that area for those of you that still think that. And we'll cover this a little bit more on my podcast because I love talking in depth about these things. So with that, I hope that this video has been helpful to you. I hope you've learned a couple, 2-3 things. Also did some weed ID and talked about weed control in the summer, and I made a full blog post about that. I'll link that below as well. So with that, leave me your comments and questions below, and I'll see you in the lawn.